welcome back to the New York studio. I'm James with HobbyKing, and we have another product profile for you, and today it's on two products specifically. One is the ARC 200 frame kit that we sell, made by Darkside Quads. Sean Taylor and all his buddies over in New Mexico designed it. We're going to put that frame together, and then we're also going to be using the brand new Viking motors, the 2205 motors. We'll put on this bad boy, so it'll be a product profile flight of basically a combination of all the best stuff we're selling right now if you're into drone racing. So we're definitely looking forward to this one. So what you see in front of me is everything you're going to need to put together what is a world-winning championship frame kit. Definitely the Viking motors were used by Sean Taylor in a lot of multi-GP races and DSA races, and the Drone Worlds in Hawaii, and the ARC frame he's been using, and his team Multistar, uses the ARC frame for a lot of their racing. So it's really fantastic that you and everyone can get to use what the professionals are using now, and it's all at a really good price. So again, we'll have links in the video that you'll see in the description for every single product here. So let's go over everything you're going to need before we start doing any building. So first and foremost, we'll start with the motors. We're going to use 4 Viking motors, 2 clockwise, 2 counterclockwise. Make sure you check that out when you buy them. You don't want to buy 4 of the same motors spinning in the right, in the same direction. So we have the 2205s for this one. That's 2600 kV. These motors, more than enough power for what we're going to be using. We're really excited to give these a go. You obviously have your ARC frame kit, which you'll see a lot of the pieces in front of me, which one notably, it's 4mm carbon in the arms, and then you have 2mm carbon for the middle plates, and there's 3 of those, and then you have all the peripherals, screws, bolts, and things like that. As far as ESCs go, we'll be using the Raptor 30 amp ESCs. They're already flashed with BLHeli, which is nice, a lot easier than trying to do that yourself. And they're also the perfect size. As you can see, they just about fit perfectly on the ARC 200 nicely. So you don't want a big fat ESC that's going to be, off the side. We want to cut down wind resistance, and as every drone racer knows, cutting down as much weight as possible is always good. As for our FPV camera setup, we're going to use the HS1177. This was used again by Sean Taylor and most of Team Multistar whenever they're doing racings. Fantastic camera. And then we also have our power distribution board, and we have a Naze 32, which we're going to flash later on. So guys, we're going to do a quick build here, and obviously I'll stop the tape and talk to you guys a little bit if there's anything that you guys need to know. But for the most part, the hardest thing about doing the drone, building the drone yourself, is making sure you do those ESCs, that you solder correctly. So I'm not that good of a solderer, so I'll bring in the help. I'll bring in the closer to do the soldering work when I get to that part, but I'll get started screwing everything together, get this bad boy built, and then we're gonna have Alex, who is our drone racer extraordinaire, take it out a little later on, and he'll be whipping it around. We'll set a course up out at our flying field. So let me get this build started, and I'll see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so we did the very easy part, the first steps, and that's assembling the frame, and then we just screwed on our motors. But I wanted to give you a little hint here. When you build your ARC 200, in the instructions, they actually built it upside down. So they have you using, there are 2 plates, the top plate and the bottom plate, and I'll take this, I was holding down my screws with that plastic, but you'll see the bottom plate is machined to fit perfectly. It's all 4 sides. The top plate has one flat side, and that's where you're going to put your mount for your FPV camera. So you want to make sure that that is on the top side when you do put together your frame, or else you'll be in a mess when you're done building and you go to get your FPV on after you're all soldered up and you realize that that plate isn't on right. You're going to have a hard time getting it back on. So when you do build the ARC, just again, make sure that plate is facing forward, because then our FPV mount will 3D print a mount. We'll do that a little later. That goes on here. That'll put your camera right front and center. So just make sure you do that when you build your ARC, and let's keep going.
Correct. Whoopee!
All right, guys, so now we have the motors soldered up to the ESCs, but now before you do all of this, where you get to this point, one thing you want to make sure you do, even though your motors are, you have 2 counterclockwise and 2 clockwise motors, you still have to test those directions. So make sure you test the motor direction, because if they're wrong, even if you have a counterclockwise motor spinning clockwise, then your prop nut may be flying off as you're flying. So you have to really make sure before you do any final soldering that you check the motor directions. But as you can see, everything is soldered up nice and tight. We brought in the closer. Alex Davis did a little help for us. He soldered up a few of these, but you see we got those motors really close to the ESCs. We have the heat shrink wrapped around that came with the Raptor ESCs themselves, so we'll get that going. But the next step now is going to be soldering everything to our power distribution board, so we're going to get started with that. Alright guys, so this is going to bring us to the end of our ARC 200 with Viking motor build. We didn't get too in-depth, but we want to talk to you a little bit of just about the structure. So you got your power distro board is going to be the first layer on the middle. You're going to have your NAS 32 as the second layer. We have a decased receiver. We'll go over what we're using in a second. And we have our FPV transmitter on top of that. So everything is stacked nicely. So again, let's go back to what we're using to complete the build. We have our Turnigy receiver, the IA6C, that comes with any Turnigy radio you're going to buy, and especially it comes with the Evolutions, which is what Alex is now exclusively flying his drones on, and he put a HobbyKing logo on his case. But we're going to fly it with the Turnigy Evolutions. So again, made especially for drone racers, it's perfect for this type of setup. We went with the FPV transmitter, the Quanum Elite. We have a 200 milliwatt transmitter on there for now, and then it's going to be powered with a Graphene 4S 1300 Lipo, so and the highest C rating. So this thing's going to have a ton of power. Battery is always going to be sitting on the back. And one of the neat little things that we did, which Night Fury told us to do, we directly soldered the XT60 connector right to the power distribution board. So it is nice and firm on there, a lot easier for you to plug in and unplug. So a nice little feature there. And again, that'll do it for this build portion. So now let's get outside, let's test the motors, and we'll see it once she's outside. All right, guys, we are out east at our flying field, and we got the ARC put together. Alex Davis behind you, and myself. I did a little work on this thing, not too much. And Alex, of course, they finally got the PIDs all taken care of. They got it test flying, and then instead of doing some drone racing, we figured why not do some drone chasing? That's what Alex here specializes in. So we jerry-rigged a GoPro 4 on top. It's already a little busted, but it still shoots nice. And Alex is gonna chase the Voltager, so you're kind of seeing a behind the scenes of the Voltager product video, as well as getting a taste of the Viking motors from the GoPro. You'll see it from Alex's cam because he's recording, and I'll chase it around myself as well with this camera. So let's do it. Good work, man.
Damn, that's fun.
So guys, not much more to say about the ARC 200 and of course the Viking motors. You guys can pick them up on HobbyKing, on hobbyking.com right now. And then that voltager, he's on his way too.